Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian, and I'm joined once again by my fellow co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, how you doing, man?
Hey, what up, dude? I'm doing all right. Glad to be back here with you. There's a lot of things that we gotta talk about. It's gonna be a very, 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 very interesting episode. El Tri stuff, a Mexican prospect that might come back to Liga MX.
Yeah, definitely a one that you guys can't miss, and we have a lot to talk about today. Before we get into it, Adrian, where can our subscribers find us, man?
They can always find us on YouTube as Puro Pinche Gol. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. If they just want to listen to our pretty voices, they can always find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any other podcast service that they are a subscriber on.
Awesome. Yeah, so be sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell for it so you don't miss another episode of Puro Pinche Gol. Adrian, let's get right into it, man. We got a lot to talk about. Starting off with El Tri,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico. It looks like they're narrowing down their short list of candidates to coach La Selección.
Yeah.
They've kind of mentioned that they want to make their decision by the end of January, maybe by the beginning of February. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
rush their decision, but there is a short list. Who are kind of the candidates that keep popping up nowadays?
Sure. So Doña Fede, after the whole debacle in at the World Cup, they said that they had 60 days to make a decision, right, or at least to come up with something. So we're like in the midst of the 60 days, maybe like 40 days, 48 days in, and there's already like a short list of names that are being out there. That are pundits and TV shows and reporters are throwing out there. There's four main ones that I've seen so far that are the most common or the most recurrent ones, and those include Marcelo Bielsa. We all know El Loco Bielsa. El Tigre Gareca. I think his name is Ricardo Gareca. El Tigre Gareca. He was Peru's coach, and he's well known in South America. And we have two nationals. We have Jaime El Jimmy Lozano and Miguel El Piojo Herrera, which he's been on a freaking uh, El coach candidacy run for I don't know how many years,
Since he got fired.
maybe ever since he got exactly a long time ago. But he's a common one to see here on the short
Yeah.
list.
Yeah, for sure. And he's definitely, for a lot of people, a favorite. Maybe not
Hmm.
Lafede's favorite to coach, but he's definitely, because of his high spirit, high positivity, energy. He was definitely a favorite among the fans. Maybe didn't get the results that people wanted, but definitely his heart was always in it, at least. Um,
I
let,
guess so. His heart
let's
was always
start.
in the right place, and his punch was on the wrong place.
And his gut was in the right place. Um, let's start with another fellow Argentino, bro. We just got done with Tata Martino, Argentino. Um, Marcelo Bielsa, he's been popping up lately a lot. Another fellow Argentine that
Hmm.
has coaching experience everywhere, kind of like Tata, right? He has club experience, he has um, country experience. Most recently, he was with
Hmm.
Leeds United. He was able to promote them up from the Championship to the Premier League before ultimately getting sacked for an American, Jesse Marsh, that we covered in our previous episode. What do you think of Marcelo Bielsa? Do you think he has a realistic chance of being El Tri's coach?
So look, I let's start with this thing. I think Bielsa is one of those coaches that always comes up on any national team, shortlists. Whether if it's South America, whether if it's North America, I would even say like small European teams will consider Marcelo Bielsa just because of his antics, and he's a very well known coach, as you said, a lot of experience both on national and club, and I think he has proven to be an effective coach, yet not a winner coach. But besides that, I honestly think this is not. I don't think this will happen for Mexico. As much as we want it, and as much as it might be fun to see him with El Tri, uh, there's one. There's it isn't a secret that Bielsa's teams are known for three things. He has young players, and on top of being young, they're fast, and on top of being fast, they're technically gifted. And so if you look at El Tri's roster from the World Cup and whatever we have, for the next for the next for the next World
Cycle.
Cup period, right? Cycle. Um, we don't have we barely have young players. We really don't have that fast players, and if they are, they're not technically gifted. So I honestly don't see this materializing in any way whatsoever. And then you also have a really good point, man. I don't know why, but Doña Fede and El Bueno para Nada, John de Luisa, really like Argentinians, and for some reason they want to have one. But after Tata Mezquino, I honestly I think it will be a wrong move if we go with another Argentinian in this specific case. But what do you think, dude?
Yeah, likewise. To add to your point of his style of play, Bielsa's he has. We've talked about it in a previous episode. He is pretty similar to Guardiola in that he's most successful when he's able to see his players week in, week out. He's able to
Yeah.
implement that style, that that high press style that he always plays. With using his energetic young guys to constantly fight for that ball and try to keep possession if they lose it. But likewise, man, I don't think an Argentino is going to be given. He might be interviewed just to say, hey, we interviewed Bielsa. But after what happened with Tata Martino, I don't think they'll be going that route again. At least this cycle. I'm not saying they won't get a foreigner. They might get somebody that's European or I don't know, Brazilian or something. But I don't think they'll go back to back Argentinos, especially after Tata had the worst performing World Cup for Mexico in what 40 years.
In a
So
while. Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know, just for that simple fact. But yeah, I agree. The directivos, the Federación, they're like infatuated with Argentinos. I don't know why. I guess it's just that always, Argentina has always gotten the one up on Mexico, and they might
Yeah.
think they're more naturally uh, knowledgeable of the game. I don't know. They had better experience in the game. I don't know what it is, but they do. You see it in Liga MX as well. There's wide variety of Argentina coaches, past and
Hmm.
present, and yeah, just an infatuation that exists there amongst the Federación. But no, I don't think Bielsa's the answer. It's nice to think about, but it'd be interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't see the pairing.
There's no way that Bielsa is gonna stand, the whole shenanigans and the drama that exists with Doña Fede and los dueños asking for players to be featured in and out on the national
Right.
team, and then of course the brands, getting their spoon in the mix. So I think even if it happens, right? If it happens and it materializes, and we see Marcelo Bielsa wearing the El Tri's coaching gear, um, I don't think he's gonna last more than a year.
Yeah.
Like he'll be like, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Right.
I'm not gonna put up with this kind of stuff. And then on top of that, he's gonna look at the pool of players and be like, yo, where in the hell am I?
Fuck this shit times two. Um,
For real.
all right, man. So what can you tell me about El Tigre Gareca?
So El Tigre Gareca, right? This guy, he's an Argentinian as well. Before we go that route of we don't want more Argentinians in El Tri, right?
Right.
I really think he's not a bad option. He is an Argentinian, but he has been coaching outside of Argentina for a while now.
Right.
He has gone through. He has coached in El Brasileirao. He has coached other South American national teams like Peru. I think he's not a bad option, to be honest with you. Again, as I expressed, he did a very decent job with Peru, bringing them back to the World Cup on 2018 after a while. And we all know that CONMEBOL's qualification to the World Cup is not an easy one. Um, Even though it has a lot of pretty much 50% of the confederation classifies to the freaking World Cup. But
Right.
that's it. Yeah, that's nor here nor there. Um, but I just I don't think that he will be a good solution, right? Um, I think that if the recent reports of Doña Fedes, trying to go and interview Gareca, um, are true, then I think it's a good candidate. But it also conflicts with some reports that I've seen lately and today, where they're saying that Doña Fede and Los Dueños have decided to go for a national or local coach, someone that knows Liga MX and understands the Mexican player. Which, to Gareca's defense, he knows Liga MX because when he was coaching Peru, I would say a good amount of his players, I don't know the percentage of them, but I would say at least 5 or 6 of them were constantly playing in Liga MX. So he has a really good understanding of Liga MX level of competition. And, you know, it was common to see him out there watching few games where
Right.
on teams where Peruvian players were featuring.
Yeah. I
And
think he fits more so the mold of the Mexican team than Bielsa. I think the Peru national
mhm,
team is more of a played similarly to Mexico. Had
yeah.
similar type players. What I do like about Gareca is that all his experience. He doesn't have any coaching experience in Mexico. We said, but and I don't think he has any in Europe. All his experience is in South America, right? He's coached Palmeiras.
Mhm,
He's coached some teams in Argentina. He's coached some teams in uh, Uruguay, I think, Colombia. But like he brings that knowledge of South American football, which
yeah.
we talked about before that Mexico desperately needs to try to get to the point where they're competing with South American teams playing in Conmebol. He'll be able to at least bring that knowledge of a guy that's played at Boca Juniors when he was playing and has coached big
Mhm,
teams in South America. Can has those connections to Conmebol, might be able to influence future amistosos, future friendlies, future matches for
yeah.
Mexico against CONMEBOL teams. And yeah, I think I like this appointment more so than Bielsa. But
Mhm.
like you said, I think the La Federación is probably leaning to some internal options this go around.
Yeah, and I think some of his accolades, he didn't win anything with Peru. But he classified him to the World Cup in 2018, and I think he also managed to get into a Copa America
Repechaje.
final, I
Uh,
believe.
uh, I think so, but he got into the repechaje with Peru, or the whatever they call it, the qualification playoff to the World Cup for
Yeah, uh-huh.
2022, which he lost. I don't
And
know
he
how you
lost.
lose to
Yeah,
was it Oceanic?
Australia.
Uh-huh.
I
But
think it was Australia.
still, Peru. I mean, to take them to a World Cup in 2018 and get close in 2022, coming out of CONMEBOL, Peru's probably one of the smaller teams in CONMEBOL that you don't expect to come
Yeah.
out.
Hmm.
They beat
Them,
Colombia to the World Cup, Paraguay, Chile,
them along with Bolivia, they don't have that many players in Europe. They mostly have in Liga MX, somewhere around South America, and they have
Brazil.
a good amount of them in MLS as well. Some of Careca's numbers with Peru, they're decent. He coached 96 games, 41 wins, 39 draws, and 36 losses. So he has a positive ratio, but I mean, I'm not a calculator over here, but his percentage should be like around, I don't know what, 30 something percent, uh,
Right.
or maybe close to 40% of effectiveness. So not a bad choice, but again, this contradicts some of the recent reports of Doña Fede looking for a Mexican coach, which brings us to the next two candidates, and I'm very excited to talk about one of them for sure.
The ex Tigre Jaime Lozano.
Yeah, Jaime Jimmy Lozano. I do. I want. I want to begin with. I want to start with this, Adrian. There's a thing that we call that people say there's some románticos del fútbol, but here in PPG we call them amadores del fútbol. And if you are one of those guys, right, one of those guys and gals out there, this is the coach for you, and I'll tell you why. And I do want to say that I'm 100% with you. If you are one of those guys, I really like Jimmy Lozano for El Tris coach. So I, as you know, there aren't that many Mexican coach out there in the world, and most of them are very old, like Javier Aguirre. Nacho Ambriz is not that old, but he's older than Jimmy Lozano for sure. And then other than that, you don't have that many Mexican coaches out there. Hitos Mesas retired. You have Bucetichos, he's freaking old as hell, dude. And you have Piojo Herrera, which he isn't that old, but he's definitely older than Jimmy Lozano. And to have someone like Jimmy Lozano coming up the ranks, going to Europe to get his coaching education on, which shows a lot of commitment and dedication
Right.
to immerse himself in new techniques of coaching and learning how the big teams are doing. Um, Actually gives him, at least in my book, gives him a lot of points. He has coached in Liga MX. He understands Liga MX because he was a Liga MX player. He actually was part of El Tri in 2006 World Cup
Okay.
adventure. So he understands the Mexican player as well. He knows what it means to be part of El Tri. I think he will be able to speak to the young generation as well as the old generation who might be joining on the recent call ups for the national team. And on top of that, on top of coaching Querétaro and Necaxa and Liga MX, which he did okay. Like he didn't win anything, but he coached Querétaro and Necaxa, so no one was expecting him to do anything with it. I think with Necaxa, he managed to get into a quarterfinal or a semifinal. That's perhaps his best record on Liga MX. And before that, he was Mexico's under 23 coach, which he actually got a bronze medal on the most
Mhm.
recent Olympic Games, which I think are the 2020.
Yep.
So, um, yeah, I mean, I am excited. If it's El Jimmy Lozano, dude, this might make me feel a little more hope about El Tri's future because I think he will be a coach for the long run. Like if they decide to go with El Jimmy Lozano, it has to be a situation of we're gonna bring you in for 8 years, my friend.
Yep. Yeah, he's definitely got the. He's coached the U23 team, like you said. He won the bronze in 2020. He won the Pan American bronze in 2019, and the Olympic qualifying championship in 2020 to qualify for that Olympic Games. So a lot of the up and coming players, for La Selección and in Liga MX, he's coached them in the youth 23 team. So he's familiar with a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
players already.
Yeah.
Like you said, he's familiar with Liga MX. He's familiar with one thing that we didn't really mention about the previous Gareca is that Gareca might be a good coach, but he doesn't know the intricacies that happen with the Federación, the um,
Yeah.
the media, how to handle that pressure. Peru, no offense to Peru, they're the great team, right? But they don't have that media pressure, that constant pressure,
Yeah.
to do well as the national team coach or the national team. They're like, if we're able to qualify to the World Cup, that's a win for us already out of Conmebol. Here for Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
you're expected to qualify top, and you expect to do well, get out your group at least, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
always wanting to get to the quinto partido. I think Jaime Lozano, yeah, he's definitely probably the most attractive option, the youngest guy for sure, and like you said, in it for the long run. The thing that worries me a little bit is his kind of lack of experience coaching, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but he does have that European background that he went to study out there that Piojo doesn't have, that Bielsa does have by doing out there. But
But
it.
come on, Ko. I mean, I get you, and I really I feel you right there. Where he's the I guess the candidate with the least experience, but we gotta try something new, man.
Yeah, it's the wild card, right? It's like he's either gonna do amazing and do great things, or you'll be like,
Hmm.
shit. Well, I mean, he wasn't that experienced, I guess, but
At
he
least he
won't.
tried.
At least he tried. But if you go with Piojo, you'll be like, we've seen this already. It's like
Exactly.
we already know what he's
Yeah.
capable of. So with Jaime
Uh-huh.
Lozano, you're at least gonna be. I think you'll see new things implemented. You'll see different styles implemented, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see who he gets on his managerial team. If he gets somebody with a little bit more experience as kind of his backup, definitely would
Mhm.
be interesting to see how that plays out.
One of the cons that I see with El Jimmy Lozano and any other Mexican coach that is up for the job, right? It's that they don't have that extensive network on, outside of CONCACAF.
Right.
right? They don't have a connection with any European powerhouse. They don't have a connection with with South America, so it might be difficult for them to navigate that specific route of let's try to get some high level friendlies before the World Cup, right? But I think that's applicable to it, as I said, to any other local candidate, and maybe that's the reason why Doña Fede likes Argentinians, because they seem to have, do better on those on that realm specifically.
But it didn't help
Which
Tata
can
Martino. I mean,
no, I, yeah, you're right. Hmm.
with Zoom, the contract that they currently have, all they play is in the states, and all they play is against mediocre teams. Um, we that connection, it might exist with between CONMEBOL teams, but it's not like they can, like we've seen it come to fruition. They have to do what their contract says and come play in the states.
I agree. I don't like Tata Mezquino, but I do want to say that in his defense, he coached during COVID, so that could be an excuse for I'm not traveling outside of what I'm allowed to because of COVID, which I think is bullshit because he used it as an excuse for not fucking watching Liga MX or living in Mexico, uh, which we all agree that if you are El Tri's coach, you have to be aware of what's happening on Liga MX because 50% of your team is going to come from there.
Right.
Um, so, Jimmy Lozano's numbers, the most recent ones, at Querétaro, he had 36 games, 11 wins, 16 losses, with a percentage rate of 30.5. With Necaxa, he had 29 games, 10 wins, 13 losses, with a 34% win rate. But with Mexico under 23, he had 24 games, he won 16, he lost 2, and he has a 66.7 win percentage rate. So with maybe he's a coach bound to always be part of the national team, and that's maybe he's uh, I don't know, I don't want to say comfort zone, but maybe that's the area that he feels most confident on. And
Yeah,
on
his
top of
forte.
that, exactly. And on top of that, man, I want to hear what you have to say. Uh, I'm not sure if this is only tied to Jimmy Lozano, but I've been reading a lot of rumors about if Jimmy Lozano joins or it's gonna be the coach for El Tri, that Rafa Marquez will join him as an assistant coach, which uh, I don't know about Rafa Marquez's experience as coaching, but just having Rafa Marquez as part of your staff, I think says a lot, and I think it's gonna sit well with a lot of the both young and old players on the national team.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that kind of brings us to our next point that El Piojo Herrera also, I saw rumors that he will be bringing in Rafa Marquez as an assistant. I can't tell you what qualifications Rafa Marquez has because I think he does have some European coaching that he went to study in Europe while he was out there.
Hmm.
Or after, I think after he retired, he went out there to kind of get a couple of certifications. So that'd be interesting if Piojo or Jaime Lozano get him as an assistant because, like you said, he's arguably Mexico's greatest player of all time, and
Yeah.
he'll definitely motivate the fans. He'll motivate the team. They'll want to train with him at training. They'll want to play, for him. And he brings a wealth of knowledge from the game, from Barcelona when he used to play out there, from all his time in La Liga MX. Just that he can apply to these players. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does join Jimmy Lozano there for coaching. So El Piojo, dude, what can you tell us about him? Is he one of the leading candidates in your eyes?
In my eyes, he's not leading any freaking race. But if you look at the list, right? Because we're skipping Nacho Ambriz, who recently said he's not interested in the job because he's committed to Toluca, and we're skipping also Almada, not because we don't want Almada, but because Almada has also other options like Ecuador and Uruguay, and he also has expressed that if it isn't a national team that is fully committed to him, that he's not willing to leave Pachuca. So besides that point, I think Herrera is not a bad choice because of that specific reason. Because you don't have that many Mexican
Abs-
coaches out there. The ones that are the one that might come from Liga MX that isn't Mexican, uh, might not be he might not be that interested in coaching El Tri, or they might not pursue him for whatever reason. I know that there's some politics behind it, that Almada doesn't like Grupo Orlegui, who are the owners of Santos, and kick him out after a couple of seasons. Um, he's a strong candidate for the job. Uh, this this dude has been on candidacy on an election run for a while now. Even when he joined Tigres a year and a half ago, he was already first day in the job. Hey, if El Tri wants me, I'll be there. And whenever things were shaky for El Tata, he was always raising his hand and like, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready.
Right.
So he wants to get back. And I don't know if he wants to get back because he wants to redeem himself, or just because he knows what kind of money he's going to be making as El Tri's coach. So, regardless of his intentions and motivations, he knows Liga MX, he knows the Mexican player. He has proven to be a very motivating coach. I think he knows how to speak to young lads, and I think he knows how to speak to older dudes. The one thing that I see negative with him, though, besides being pan con lo mismo, um, is that he's the kind of coach that is only for a short period of time. I think he has this specific situation where he doesn't really know how to deal with stars or divas on the locker room. That happened to him in America. That happened to him most recently in Tigres. I cannot say that happened to him on his previous spell as El Tri coach, because I don't think that was the case. Albeit he left the coaching job on El Tri with really good numbers. To be honest, the whole reason why he left is because of it wasn't because of his performance; it was because of something else. Uh, so I just if the if he gets to be the coach, I think he has to be very selective of what kind of players he wants to bring in, and ensure that those players are committed to him. If he's gonna bring in stars, or the likes of maybe Hector Herrera or Chicharito, who are divas, as we know, um, I think he might have a situation where he might be catering to them a lot, and then having the rest of the team turning his back on him, which happened at Tigres. Um, and so these are the weaknesses that I see with El Piojo. On top of being an old face. And I don't like the saying that goes, "Más vale malo por conocido que bueno por conocer," which this is a specific case. We're
Right.
going with him because we know how he is. We know what kind of style he has, his personality, and we know that he might burst any now and then. And he will always blame his players. He will never take the blame for making a poor choice on a substitution or losing a game. He will always say like, "Well, it's because of the players or the freaking referees." So that's
Yeah.
my take on El Piojo.
Yeah, he's gonna if he does take the job, he'll like you said, he'll be like a band-aid type deal. He'll come in,
Yeah,
he'll do well initially, but as soon as things go south, he'll either deuce, I'm out, or have a fight with someone, the media, or get fired somehow again. But yeah, I was reading because about him, and
hmm
there have been rumors saying that there's a Spanish team interested in him as well. So he's come out and said that his first priority obviously is Mexico, and that he's there for Mexico when the call comes. But yeah, it's more of a been there, done that before, and I think they need
yeah,
to take a risk. With the World Cup coming to Mexico in 2026. I mean,
me
yeah,
too. Yeah,
yeah, it
we'll
is what
see,
it
man.
is.
We'll see.
Yeah, man. Cool. Well, we'll see what happens here. Sure. Hopefully, within the next week or two, we'll probably find out who it actually is. So the next topic regarding the three man is a player that's coming back relatively quickly from Europe back to Mexico. Or well, maybe even MLS. Diego Lainez, a star for America before he went to Europe. Didn't really do
Yeah,
too much. What was expected of him in Europe in his time out there, and now there's talks of a potential move to Tigres in Liga MX. What do you
yeah.
think about Diego Lainez coming back?
I mean, LFMAO, dude. I I feel for him. I think it's a shame that he's coming back at a such young age to Liga MX. He hasn't done anything in
Right.
Europe whatsoever, and I think it must be really difficult for him to swallow the pill of being one of the La Liga's prospect when he joined Betis to being a nobody in Sporting Braga and trying to beg for a comeback to Liga MX or MLS. Um, I don't know if you heard, but he was demanding like something crazy, a $2 million a year salary to America, and America said, "No, I'm out." Um, the thing is that I feel like a clown because Tigres it's willing to pay that for him. They're willing to pay the $2 million. Although I do have to say that before they do that, they had to unload Champion du Monde Florian Thauvin because he has a 5 million a year salary with Tigres, and so for that to happen, they need to get rid of that wage on the
Right.
team. That sucks. I I don't really know what it means for El Tri. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think it means much for a three, right? I mean, he wasn't called up to the
Yeah.
World Cup. It was like he was on the one of the probably if there was a 30-man roster, he may have made it, but he didn't make the 26. So he's on the fringes with a
Hmm.
three, probably due to the fact that he wasn't getting any playing time for Betis or where was he loaned out to? Was it Mallorca?
Sporting Braga.
Braga, sorry. Yeah, he was loaned out to
Hmm.
Braga and wasn't getting much playing time either. So I mean, he's probably looking to kind of revive his career. At Tigres, he'll get playing time, maybe. Tigres is always a competitive club to play at, but definitely, I don't know, man. It's hard. I don't think it means anything for it three. It just means that we spoke about last week. You're spot on. Hit the nail on the hit the nail on the head, man. These young players go to Europe, get overvalued in Mexico. It goes to
Hmm.
their head. They move to Europe as soon as they can to get the quickest option they can. Um, Granted, Betis is the type of club we'd like to see them go to, middle of the table team.
Hmm.
But I think he may have just gone for what you said last week. I quote you that it's something that's kind of expected of them by society, by they've always grown up thinking to themselves, the best players in Europe go to, or the best players in the world go play in Europe, and getting hyped up by Liga MX, by the media, to consider themselves one of the best players to go to Europe because they're quote unquote obligated to go or expected of them to
Hmm.
go. And as soon as they realize they aren't cutting it over there, they feel like, oh, well, I've been playing in Europe. I could go back to Liga MX and ask for my price, right? Uh,
Crazy money, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
because now I have European experience, even though I didn't play for 2 years. Um,
exactly.
so yeah, I mean, it's we've seen him do well in Copa de Oro. There was a game where he tore up the U.S. national team. I think it was that game where Matt Miazga did the like the height thing to him.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
uh, so
Was
we,
a good
we
game.
know we know he's capable of good performances, but it just he's not getting the playing time out there in Europe, and it looks
I
like
know.
yeah he'll be coming back to Mexico.
And what I've heard is that on Monterrey on some of the Monterrey radio shows is that it looks like a family member. I want to say it's like his brother's daughter or his brother's something lives in Monterrey, and I think his family wants him to go back to Mexico as well. So that's why he's trying to make a move to Liga MX. Um, but if I was him, if I was his dad, because I think his dad, it's also like very influential on his decisions
Hmm.
from what I've read. But if it was his dad, I'd be like, look, man, push for a move to Twente, to Groningen. I don't know, go to PSV, right?
Right.
Or even go to Genk, Club Brugge, something like that. Like, don't go back to Mexico. There's nothing that out there for you. Um, Give it another shot. Give it another year, 2 years if you want, and try to make a move to a smaller league in Europe.
Yeah.
If you don't make it, you can come back 24 years old to Mexico, and you can still ask for. Now you can ask for the fucking $2 million a year,
Right.
um, especially if you're featured on El Tri, right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I won't
Man,
spend too
I
much
mean,
time on him, but
uh
it's interesting to see what will happen with him here before the January transfer market closes. Um,
mhm.
cool, man. Well, it was good talking to you about this, picking your brain. Let's see what happens here in the next week or two with Jimmy, with Piojo, with any coach from Mexico, and with Diego Lainez, man. See you in the next one, buddy.
Take it easy, bro.